Hi, I'm Steve Averill. I'm back with some Synthesizer.com modules, some brand new ones I'm going to put in the rack. I have a transistor ladder filter here, a ring modulator, 2 oscillators, the same as the ones I have. That'll give me 4 oscillators, sample and hold, and a noise module. We're going to put them in the box now. Here we go. Okay, the first thing, we're going to move this amplifier module all the way to the right. I'm going to use this drill screwdriver and just pull it right out. These things are attached only by the power source, and I'm going to unplug this one and pick a longer cable. Plug it back in. That's ready to go. And that one's done. All these modules have the same power connector and in roughly the same place, and you just plug that cable in there and it snaps into the lock and you're good, and it's ready to mount in. Okay. Okay, just taking a look at my reference from the spreadsheet I put together with all the different modules in it. I've just done this, this, and this, so I need to do these 2 envelope generators, the mixer, and then I can install the new ring modulator in here, and then we'll do the VCOs. There, that's done. Got all the modules in all the way over. And so we have MIDI interface, slew limiter, multiples, noise, sample and hold, VCO1, VCO2, VCO3, and VCO4, a ring modulator, the 4-channel mixer, 2 envelope generators, a state variable filter, the ladder filter, and the voltage controlled amplifier for an output. Okay, we have a full rack now, and I have 4 VCOs. I'm going to put a patch together with all 4 VCOs and see how fat of a sound I can get. So I'm going to color code my VCOs, and I'm going to use the ramp outs and just put them in the correct positions. 1, 2, and 3. And we'll just take that output from the mixer into the filter right there. Okay, so I'll just get the envelope generator firing up the voltage control amplifier. This is good. Get the filter into the signal, and finally the output to the mixer. I should have something now. Yeah, that's the way analog synthesizers should sound, at least until you tweak them. So I'm going to bring these oscillators in one at a time and tune them. Now that's 4 oscillators playing the same note, so we should have a pretty fat sound. Put the gates on here, and a lot of good chorus effect. because of the multiple oscillators not quite tuned together. Okay, now I'm going to like split these guys all apart. I'm going to drop one down an octave, take one up, and take one up. I'm actually going to take this one up way to the top. Maybe not make that too strong. Let's see what we got. This is a 32, a 16, an 8, and a 2. Okay, that was all sort of octave unison. We're going to look at putting together harmonic structure. So I think I'll set all these back to 16s just to get a base here. And I'm going to do a 1, 3, 5 so I can get the, let me turn these others down. So the 5, I'm going to have to go up an octave and come back. Okay, that's a full 1, 3, 5, 8. Okay, let's see. I'm going to detune this for, I'm going to do a 1, 5, 8, and like a really high 3. So, so here's my 1. Turn these off. Add that as a third. I'm going to make that. There's my 5th, and then just go to octave, and then a really high pretty detuned. It gets kind of a very chorusy, organic effect. Okay, I'm going to do something really interesting now. I'm going to take these 3 oscillators, set them as low frequency oscillators, and work them together. I'm going to run all 3 of those into the mixer, and then go from that mixer into the 4th oscillator as a modulation. And the 4th oscillator will still have keyboard control, but then there'll be all this modulation. So I'll get the patch going here. This is now all patched up. These 3 oscillators each go to the mixer here, but the mixer output's going to the linear frequency modulation of this oscillator here. And I'm just going to turn the filter up, and so I don't have to play on the keyboard. And what's happening is these oscillators are all about the same frequency, but they aren't in phase with each other. So you can tell by the blinking lights that they're kind of being random. So it's cool. You like just make one very slow and one very fast, and you have control over how much each one of them does. Since I turned this all the way off, then it's just a pure tone. I can bring in this a little bit, and you get, I don't know, some bumblebees or something. If I change this one here to a ramp, change this one to a pulse, Lots of great sounds. I'm just going to put them all in sine wave for a minute here to get this, like, get some good sci-fi things going here. Okay, that's because the ramp's ramping and the sine wave is running fast. This one here, which isn't contributing much. I'm just going to yank this right out of there, and I'm going to plug this into the filter instead. Now, I'm not changing the pitch of the note at all. I'm only affecting the filter in the same way. Has anybody seen the movie Flubber? Very random. It's actually not patternless. It's the three oscillators kind of out of sync with each other, different frequencies. You can do a lot of different things. It's fun listening to it. It's almost easier to listen to it with the filter than with the pitches. Okay, we have this other module that I haven't used yet, the noise module, and it has white noise, pink noise, and low frequency noise. I'm going to just use the output level at full for now, and I'm just plug it right in, and it'll be plugged into the input of this filter. And just turn this up, and we'll hear noise. That's just plain white noise. This is what it sounds like with the filter all the way up, and you can shape that way. You put a resonance on it. And we get some pretty good wind that way. Now just briefly, if I change this down to the pink, I get a completely, a more previously filtered noise. Pink noise is in the kind of lower range, and it actually can be much more ominous, but I kind of think of it as more the ocean kinds of sounds. But when you do the wind, it can be pretty meaningful here. And these things can have the impact of an attack and decay as well. Set up a fast attack and decay. And do this really fast, we can get pretty close to a phaser sound. Faster. I think that was it. There you go. That might be even better with a white noise. Let's check it out. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to take this white noise as it is set right now. I'm going to take the filter, these random oscillators that are going into the filter, at least they were. put this back in here. And I'm going to control this filter. I think I'll just get rid of this trigger part out of this thing and have the output of these things so this is those same oscillators we were listening to with their kind of random settings. I'm going to just put it on really slow stuff here. And maybe not so too intensive. Put it down here where I can control the level. There, kind of trying to get it to do an automatic wind on its own. Kind of let it go for a while, adjust it yourself. It's kind of cool. Is it down to pink? Get that storm going. There you go. That's what we can do with noise. All right, so I got a sample and hold module here that we need to play with for sure. So I'm thinking that basically, I've got this patched up a little bit already. The sample and hold, it needs a gate, or it has an internal one, but I'm going to do this with a gate. I'm going to run the gate off of that same low frequency oscillator we used earlier. And I'm running that into multiples because I want that same gate to gate my 2 envelope generators. And so I got this cluster going over there. And I now probably have, there we go. There we go. This is now the gate, this low frequency oscillator. And the sample and hold is in full effect, but it doesn't have an input. So I'm going to give it the low frequency input from the white noise. And now this should be a little bit more random. And let's get it up to a rhythm. That's pretty cool. Now you can kind of feed the input of this thing with multiple things. So I've got an oscillator I'm not using here. I'll use it for low frequency. Let's put it on this ramp. Have control of that input level to make it. Yeah, that's cool. And I'm just going to yank the output of this sample and hold out and put it right into the linear frequency of my oscillator. All right, so here's the ring modulator. It's pretty simple module. You have 2 inputs. They usually come from 2 different oscillators and an output. And so I'm actually going to use what we had set up before. So we still got this gate from this low frequency. And there's that oscillator. And I'm going to add this other oscillator in here so we can hear what we how they sound like. I've got it at 32 and 8. It seems to work best if they're a good distance apart. So I just take those two, stick them into this X and Y, and then grab a output and go into one of the inputs. Now the trick is to detune one of the oscillators. And we can start to get some gongs or something. Anyway, very metallic sound. Now this is both with basically a square wave in. Actually, I still got the modulation on this square wave here. That had a pretty good effect. Just turn that down so you hear what it sounds like. Now I'm just going to swap one of these out and put a sine wave in. Change it around the other way. I want to set up a little experiment here. I've got a new filter. When I expanded this, I got the original Moog circuit ladder filter and the state variable filter from the Synthesizer.com design. And I want to compare these. They're very different. So I've set this up with two pairs of oscillators that are set up the same. One pitch oscillator and one pulse modulation. And they're the same within a little bit of tuning. And I'll just show that by turning this on here. The frequency down on this one and up on this one. This is the ladder filter. Turn that all the way off to where we don't hear it, and then turn the other one up. And at this point they don't sound very different, but there's a layout difference in these things and have to remember. But let's see what these sound like with resonance on them, because that's kind of this, when you start sweeping this resonance, you can hear the different harmonics a certain way. Now, can I get that same sound out of the ladder filter? And you see that it is not quite the same. Not with the settings there, but you just need to get closer to oscillation. Now listen. Not quite. There they are. Hear each one of those things, and then go back to so they're really pretty similar, and maybe different enough that you can get some flavor. Fun thing, of course, would be to run both of them. Maybe set up at different harmonies. I can do with two filters off the same inputs. Okay, as kind of a finale here, I'm going to try to put a lot of this stuff together and maybe start with a little background wind. And I've got the sample and hold on its own clock running fairly slow here, and sampling the low frequency white noise. All this stuff is maxed out. the output of that sample and hold, which would be pretty stepped, is going to the slew limiter, which is going to cause that to not be so quick. Maybe I can demonstrate that in a minute. So the output of that slew limiter is then going to control this ladder filter's frequency. Okay, so let's listen to just that much of it. So that's I've got it just sort of doing random wind. I'm going to take the slew limiter down to 0, and you'll see what I mean. This is like Star Trek Beam Me Up or something, right? So this, with the slew limiter, is slurring those motions, and with it at max, it never quite gets to the sample. So now I've got this random wind, and I'm liking it for a background. I've got a regular bass setting. With a pulse modulator, but I've now taken these two oscillators, also controlled by the keyboard, but at a 16 and a 4 and a skew that's kind of about of a +3, should give me a nice little metallic top to it. Kind of interesting if it's way detuned. Now I'm going to tune it. Still get a pretty good ring modulator sound, and I'm just going to jam a little bit. This is a lot of fun with a full rack. I've got 4 VCOs, 2 VCFs, a ring modulator, white noise, sample and hold, a slew limiter, a couple VCAs, and just did a lot of fun kind of things, and all still monophonic. I haven't done anything beyond monophonic, so we'll get to that later. But anyway, thanks for joining me. I'm Steve Averill. This was Synth Project 03.